All change requires death. All progress requires the abandonment of the old. All creation requires destruction. The process through which this transformation happens is conflict, and the way we navigate this conflict makes the difference between anger, sadness, and desperation, or relief, excitement, and connection. If we are unable to use confrontation and conflict for creation, our lives will not only stagnate, but we will come to hate the people we love most because we're unable to communicate to them how they can help us fulfill our needs. We will get stuck in mental loops and self-sabotage because the different parts of our brain are not collaborating, and we will channel the sadness and frustration into all our interactions, destroying the relationships we already have and preventing any we might have been able to create. Today, I want to share with you my favorite tool for using the conflicts, both external and internal, that enter your life to keep growing stronger. Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. NVC is usually found in the context of political or corporate mediation, sometimes in activist circles, and rarely even in personal relationships. But beyond its incredible power to navigate external conflicts, its use to change our inner dialogue is often overlooked. NVC is not just a technique, it's a way of thinking and speaking that promotes empathy, respect, and clarity between you and others, but also within you. By focusing on your needs and feelings, and by listening with compassion, we can transform everyday conversations and build healthier, more meaningful relationships with ourselves and others. Let's look at an example where we can use NVC to improve an external relationship. If you have ever lived with anybody, you will know the following situation. There's a kitchen with two people, let's call them Alex and Jamie, having a conversation over breakfast. Why didn't you wash the dishes last night? You always forget. I was tired and you didn't remind me. We've gotten off to a bad start and things are on their way to escalate. Not exactly the way we want to start the day. So let's try to replay the scene using the 4 key principles of nonviolent communication: observation, feeling, need, and request. Alex sees the mess in the kitchen. First step, observation. Jamie, I noticed that the dishes weren't washed last night. Feeling. I feel frustrated when the dishes pile up because I want to start the day with a clean space. Notice that it's important to communicate an actual feeling here, not just say, I feel like you should clean the dishes, or I feel like running away. Try to find an actual emotion. In this case, frustration. Then comes need. I need support in keeping our space tidy. And lastly, request. Would you be willing to help me by washing the dishes tonight? Try to find a clear action that can actually be done instead of something that shouldn't be done. Can you stop being a bad housemate is both unclear and difficult to do because you constantly have to think about it. Doing things is easier than not doing things. So in this case, feel free to just request, can you help me clean the dishes tonight? By using these 4 steps, Alex communicates clearly without blame, making it easier for Jamie to respond positively. Most importantly, he has stood up for his needs and clearly communicated a request that can be fulfilled to satisfy that need. It is very important that this is only a request and never a demand. A demand will never resolve a conflict because the root cause hasn't been solved. A request that is accepted, however, can resolve a conflict based on mutual agreement. If the request is rejected, this is okay as well. You can try to explore the other person's needs that are in conflict with fulfilling your request. If, however, your requests are regularly ignored and your needs are never met in a relationship, it might be time to move on. Standing up for your needs is the only way to grow. Now, let's practice applying nonviolent communication in your own life, this time with an example for inner conflict. Think of an action you took or didn't take yesterday that made you feel unsatisfied with yourself. Got something? Let's start with observation. What exactly happened? Focus on the facts without adding judgment. What was the actual action you took? Next, feeling. How did it make you feel? Identify your emotions. try to find explicit emotions like sad, disgusted, anxious. Now, third, need. Now, think about the unmet need that is connected to that emotion. What did you want to happen in that situation? Why did you feel unsatisfied? Got it? This is not so easy, so take your time. Fourth, request. Finally, formulate a request to yourself of how you can fulfill that need in the future. What is a specific action that you can actively take? How did it feel to go through this? You can use this framework to find more effective actions to fulfill your needs. But before you are able to truly get to step 3 and 4, there's probably something in the way. Many of us start to chastise and punish ourselves when we do something wrong. But this is usually just as unproductive as shouting at your flatmate when they didn't do the dishes. So before we can deal with the issue at hand, let's deal with the inner critic. When you fail to do something and you feel bad about it, instead of being chastised, what do you need? To overcome the disappointment or frustration, what can you give yourself? Appreciation for your effort? Encouragement to keep on trying? Forgiveness for making a mistake? Have you found a need that has to be fulfilled when you feel bad? Now, formulate a request to yourself to fulfill that need. If possible, accept it and carry it out. Do you notice a change in how you feel? Maybe you feel relieved, or excited, or calm. Keep practicing this to not only transform your outer conversations, but also your inner one. And you will notice yourself quickly becoming a happier and more resilient person. It takes a lot of practice to incorporate nonviolent communication into your everyday life. But as you probably just noticed yourself, it is absolutely worth it. If it seems too hard to immediately start using NVC in conversations with others, start using it in your journal. Every day, take 2 situations and work them through with NVC, starting with observations without judgment, then feelings, needs, and requests. You might be surprised by how much can change in a short period of time. If you like what you heard and felt just now, check out Marshall Rosenberg's books. They're full of great examples and tips to apply NVC to your life. The easiest one to start with is Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life by Marshall Rosenberg. All the best to you. Let's regenerate the earth.